All right, good morning. So we'll see if today is going to follow through. And after yesterday morning's drop, looked like it was going to head lower. You can never count on what a bar is going to look like at the end of the day. At you see 11:30 in the morning there, things began to turn around. But most impressively was, the jumping over themselves to take the next higher offer to just get into the close. And you can see the S&Ps closed almost on the high of the day after a 2-day consolidation. So where do we go from here? Well, that's a new all-time high. And most are thinking at this point 4,000 is going to be the next stop. Very well could be. This like a little, not much of a consolidation up at resistance. Not even a correction bar where it traded under the prior day's low, just traded down. So buyers are super aggressive, not even to have a little shakeout type of a pattern. Um, and it took off. So the open here is kind of muted, except for the NASDAQ, where Apple, which we got into yesterday pretty early before it got moving. That was part of the theoretical that I mentioned, just like, if the markets are going to go up and the S&Ps could go higher and maybe the Qs could play catch up, Apple was going to have to kick it in. And, you know, thoughts, predictions, call them whatever you want, they don't always work out. We have ideas about what might or be, but this one's working out. And so Apple here is actually up. On the list, I looked about a point and a half. It's in the list here somewhere. Anyway, wrong symbol. It's got a nice day, kind of like a head and shoulders kind of a bottom, um, and pushed up into the rising 20. And now it's above it, pushed up here, 125.80 ish. So it's got room to continue to move higher. We'll see how far it gets. And the weekly is the beginning of a turn, right? Today's Tuesday. I don't know what that's going to look like on Friday. Maybe it'll be higher. Maybe it'll be a red bar. We don't know. Right now, that looks like it can go higher, and it's supportive of the Qs and the S&P. And yes, say muted kind of reaction here this morning after that run. And I suppose a little hesitancy about continuing to jump on board. Some days are different than others where, you get a gap up and it seems like it'll be a gap and pull in kind of a day. This is starting off pretty benign. So we'll see if we can get some legs going, but it shouldn't even get close to yesterday's low with a move like that. So if it begins to pull back, somewhere in here, right? So far, it's just hanging up here. But for whatever reason, it starts to pull back today. The deeper it goes back toward that, the more people that bought into that move yesterday, the more beginning to think that it was a mistake. Right now, I think the consensus, the way we saw that buying into the close and throughout the end of the day, it supports the idea for the moment that this can go higher. And that being said, I think the Dow's run is kind of muted as well, but I think it's going to begin to underperform. But we'll see. I think the Qs are where the action will be as tech plays a little catch up. Apple being heavily weighted in the S&P, if it continues to show some strength, helps drag it up. And if Microsoft can join the party a little bit and some other tech, let's see what that is. Yeah, it's up here a bit. Got a bottoming tail bar from yesterday. So, maybe technology that's underperformed, plays some catch up, markets go up, and then I believe that sometime this week, our internals are going to give us another sell signal. Right? Call spread for 4:30 tomorrow seems reasonable, McGraw. And it's got a ways to go to just to get to 4,000. So 4:30 should work. And then 38.85. If this, like I said, even intraday drops down toward yesterday's low, something's wrong. It should stay even, look, even if we get an intraday sell-off, which eventually should get bought, the bottoming tail bar should not go down to yesterday's open because that's where there's going to be, should be buyers. So while there could be a tail day today, if there was a sell-off, it should produce a bottoming tail bar and prior should come back up. If the demand is truly strong, it's not going to go down, probably below this area. So, common sense, retracements. We don't need no fib lines. We don't need no VWAPs. We don't need trend lines. None of that stuff. Just plain old common sense. You got a strong bar. Historically, if demand is that strong, it's going to stay in the upper half of that day's range. Yeah. Below 3,900 should work. Absolutely. Like I said, if it's going down here, you just better get the hell out of the way because they're not going to stop at 3,900. If it breaks these areas, that's the way I see it, because this would be a shock. And look at this rally at the end of the day. Of course, which you saw, rally, pullback, directly straight up, which creates a void. So buyers should be willing to step up on any pullback here. Right. NQs, bumping their head on the 50 MA. There's this congestion there. And see what's to the left. It's just a peak high that it fell from. So things are stalled there. Will it stop it and turn it down? Well, that's trading. We'll just see what happens. Just look left and see what's there. But ultimately, with this resting period of 3 days, this should be able to push up to the top of this range. That's what should happen. So now we'll see what actually does happen. The Russell kind of looks like stalled, right? Slowing momentum, tail on the top, tail on the bottom. It led the way up. Money gravitates into tech. Some of it comes out of here. And maybe this goes sideways or chops around. A little buying in bonds here, right? That support. We've been looking at this for a couple of months. And the 10-year on some support, but hasn't pushed down as much. You want to keep an eye on this, right? Or if you don't have the futures, the interest rates. So I think, look, if this just hangs out here for a few days or pulls back a little bit, tech will rally. And eventually, if we get our internals giving us a sell signal and bonds yields are pushing up toward 2%, I think the markets are going to pull in and probably pull in relatively hard. Not bear market stuff, but if we get internals lined up with interest rates, which the market was focused on here, and now they don't care, but they'll focus on it again if that begins to break out, and then having internals at extremes. Well, that's the ingredients for a corrective situation in the markets. Right. Oil down a little bit, it's starting to pull back. Just look to the left. Why is it weakening? Because it's reached its destination. And silver, slop. want to see a retest here. Ideally, I see this bottoming tail bar, but I'd like to see this retest down here and a reversal before getting into a gold position. And what did the transports do? New all-time highs, Dow new all-time highs, right? Dow theory, bull market. And the last thing I'll leave you with, since there's some talk of the Fed, 3-month interest rates poking a little lower. The Fed's not going to do anything, right? Just going to talk, right? Just keep an eye on this, set an alert up here. And if this thing starts perking higher, no matter what they're saying, it's going to be a concern. So, all yours, Dan.
Oh, you're early this morning. Yeah, we're not in earnings season, so I don't have as many to go through either. So if we have time, we'll go through Debbie's list, even though she's probably still at the yacht club having a mimosa. All right, let's see. All our opens are fine. The only one that we got to keep an eye on is Netflix, because we have a condor, we have the 500 put spread, and we have the 532 call spread. And so what that is it's a neutral range bound strategy. We just want it to bobble around in that range. And we're still fine, 523, we still have $10 on the upside. But if the NASDAQ is going to stay strong, and there's been a number of these patterns where, they're just ugly reversals, then the call side is going to be the potential problem there. But that's it. All the others are fine. We had a put spread yesterday on LMT, which did not trigger. And I see some prints here. My alarm went off, but LMT is on our list for a put spread and directional. McGraw, you gave me a couple I'll look at here in a second. AVI, THC. I don't have a symbol for AVI. THC. Sure, yeah. So it's a closing breakout and a strong uptrend, sure. Anyway, I'm actually shocked. XAR is at all-time highs with a Democratic Congress where, I thought it was the Republicans who were all gung-ho of financing military. Well, they aren't doing so bad either right now. Honeywell looks higher, but up too far from the 20 for me. Oh, you know what cracks me up this morning? Kramer. I thought he was better than that. He's no stranger to trading. Do you remember this sell-off down here 2 weeks ago? Kramer was saying, do not buy here, do not buy. He says, we're going much lower. He just came out all bearish. Today he's on there. Everything's great. This is a great time to enter the market. And of course, 90% of other idiots in the media, they're just, I don't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think he would be like that. Diamonds up 10 bars. Now let's buy. Come on, Kramer. You know better than that. At least he used to say everything's still bullish with whatever, with the government flooding the markets, but he typically would be a little smarter saying buy on a pullback, not up 10 bars. Williams is asking about Amazon and then Stavros MTFA. I don't see MTFA, Stavros. Amazon. It could be. I guess we're in a bunch of these put spreads. I just think the ones that we're in are better than Amazon. You know, we did Apple. Apple was kind of a similar turn, but you see how this turn was superior because we have red bar ignored. We went sideways. We have a cleaner void. So compare Amazon to Apple for short-term put spread. I'll just show you the other ones we're in. Chewy, we have a put spread. CVM, but that's a far out of the money short put. General Motors, KHC, NVIDIA. See, that's a beautiful turn. See that? And Pelletier. So everyone I just showed you, I liked better than Amazon. The McGraw, you can go for it. Well, of course you can. Oh, 95. I mean, sure. I'm just giving you my analysis of why I like mine better, but you know, it's gapping over the high, and I'd say 30-minute high. Sure, sure. There's been many good choices. McGraw, these three are from you. Baba, there's no what we call potent reversal, and this would be a counter trend move. So I love M patterns. Excuse me. But you know, this is gapping down with the Nasdaq gapping up huge, and now it's breaking pre-market low. So I have absolutely no interest in BABA unless you give me a potent reversal. Again, everyone I just went over, and our weekly options trader was superior. LDS, yeah, that's fine, sure. Yeah, absolutely, that one's fine. You know what that kind of reminds me of? I know separate sectors, but you know, CCL, you know, came in hard, but then stabilized. This was on our list yesterday, CCL. You know, Jets was beautiful close last Friday. That would have been one with a high degree of confidence you could have held over the weekend. That's the type of pattern I like for overnight risk. Beautiful close. Girl, you asked me about CBH. There's no pattern. It's a trading range. So maybe Condor is what I'd say on ZBH. So yeah, well, let's come back to that. Olivier Sandal looked fantastic yesterday, and I said I was going through my checklist and I was going to give it as an official trade core long, but it has earnings tomorrow. But I still told folks in the green room, I said, hey, if you like the stock for whatever reason and you don't mind holding over earnings, that was a fantastic place to enter yesterday. So yes, I like it. The only caveat is earnings. Run here. I don't know what's going on, but ugly gap down. Now that could be a call spread, 30-minute low. I don't like the way it trades. It's a bullish gap. Let's see, I like my patterns more smooth. This thing's all over the place. CCIV, this one I like for today. I posted this in our Telegram. You know, it was a downtrend, but the gap up here is my something bar. See, it's gapping up. Has a big price to resistance, but big price void, so that's worth watching. Oh, I see Chud here, bottom right. We entered this into the close, another one of these turns, but we bought the stock as opposed to a put spread on this one. But that's, you know, it's in a downtrend here, but that's what we're doing. We're trading these on these most of the NASDAQ stocks. We're just trading the turns. Jabil, Yeah, I mean, I wish you mentioned it to me on this gap breakout. So last Thursday was your entry. NOV. Um, we're actually in this. Oliver, I just spent like 90 seconds talking about SNDL. Um, so this one we're in already, but there was some news out on it, gapping out a little bit. We have an out of the money put spread, but over yesterday's high looks good. I like the monthly still. Monthly target is 20, so that NOV still looks good. ABBV we mentioned yesterday. I liked, still in my list over here. Yeah, ABBV, they're gapping up a little bit, so maybe 15-minute high. TXT, it's bullish. It's bullish daily, weekly, monthly, but you missed your entry. Your entry was this 180 reversal. 180 reversal right here. So that was last Thursday. Power, $78. I got no interest in that. NBEV, remember? Do you remember NBEV, you all? That was the marijuana iced tea or whatever, infused beverages. This has a price void. That's worth watching. That's worth watching. I'll put that down here. Marijuana, I like. We got into a couple trades. MJ, we're in this and two newsletters. It's gapping up, coming in here a little bit. Tilray. Tilray, we're short puts, but I want to keep an eye on this to maybe to go or long or swing with a big target. I could see this thing getting just $40, no problem. Starbucks for Norbert, sure. Yeah, that's a gap breakout. Sure, that looks good. Starbucks and P&R. That nice bullish close. I can't tell where it's gapping, but it's definitely worth watching. Sure, sure. I'm gonna put Starbucks in my other charts. ABYA, we're already in from yesterday. Yeah, Boyd's on my list here, Jake. 60, the gap's too big for me, but it's been a bullish uptrend. Still have earnings, getting pretty ugly gap down. Oh, here's your Jabil McGraw, so that had earnings. Yeah, like I told you, if I'm on at a resort on vacation and you say, hey Dan, something ran 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bars, X%, $8 divided by that, it ran 18% in 8 days, and now it's gapping up, whatever, 5% on earnings, without me even looking at the chart. I'd say, short of 30-minute low. That's my bias. So I personally, even though weekly and monthly are strong, have zero interest in buying that today. Peter, your drop down. GNOG, 1853. It was a bottoming pattern. It's just grinding higher. Yeah, Peter, we talked about this a couple times already. It looks great. It looks great, but it has earnings tomorrow. If you don't mind holding earnings, I love the pattern. In fact, maybe I'll change my mind and get it into earnings. I mean, keep an eye on it. Let's see, 1397. This is a gap up at the resistance. I have no interest. Never heard of this stock, Zedge. Is it a recent IPO? Well, oh, look at this, came out of the graveyard. Came out of the graveyard and it's been in play. No pattern though, gap into resistance. Upsell had earnings. Gap down, 1488. I don't know. I don't have a bias. I have to watch it. CanF. Now this one's a biotech, but does anybody know if CanF is in the marijuana sector? Nah, the gap's too big. Never mind. But look at the monthly. Wow, that thing's been on a death trend. Yeah, that's marijuana. $55. You know, the things ran from 35 to 55. There's just nothing for us to do with it. Not our trade. Tan, actually, I had it as my long watch list as a continuation pattern. If this can get a 1, 2, 3 and give us $5-10, that's worth watching. NXPI, Khaled, just too far from support for me. Yeah, I'd much rather this PNR and Starbucks. See that? Oh, Starbucks, I need a pullback too. That's getting far from the 20, but even Starbucks is closer to the support. Oh shoot, now Tilray's fallen here.